All right, Misty, you want to just introduce what we're watching while I'm gonna take this little thingy off.
Yes, we are going to watch the South Carolina town hall meeting that happened in Berkeley County, South Carolina, where I guess like up to 200 people showed up and they had medical professionals and addiction recovery places and people talking about their experience with Kratom and or 7OH. I don't know. I haven't watched the town hall yet.
It should be interesting. And I just realized that I do not have my phone on. Okay, there we go.
I was like, where's that echo?
Oh, yeah, this should be interesting. So they called it, I guess, just out of the blue.
I don't know. Something.
Who knows? This should be interesting. This lady looks like she's a real kratom expert. So let's hear, let's hear what she's got to say.
We're about ready to start. If you'd like to take your seat, please.
Can you hear it okay?
You hear me?
I can only hear it in one of my headphones, one of my
Me
ears.
too. I'm going to try this. How odd. That's weird. I wonder how it sounds. Hold on, I'm going to look on the.
Maybe it's because they're not mic'd up. I don't know.
Welcome to our town hall meeting, Kratom in the Low Country. We cannot change what we do not know. Thank you for caring about our community, our neighborhoods, and most importantly, our children enough to take the time to join us tonight to learn more about a drug commonly referred to as gas station heroin. My name is Allison Bilton. I am the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Berkeley County Coroner's Office. I also facilitate the Berkeley County and Tri-County Overdose Fatality Review Team. The Overdose Fatality Review Team brings together a fatality review of different types of deaths and drugs. We look at different things. We work
It
with a
sounds good on the stream.
multidisciplinary coalition of community stakeholders to
Okay,
conduct
I don't know why it sounds like this
good
on my
reviews
headphones.
of overdose deaths. Our mission is to identify the gaps in services, enhance interagency collaboration, and develop data-informed strategies to prevent our future overdose fatalities and improve community response across the continuum of care. It is through the relationships built in the OFR that this town
Hey,
hall
Keith. Hey, Eugene. Little
Senator
brother.
Hartwell saw two specific
Yeah.
cases. They were accidental overdoses that were standalone kratom overdoses. The deaths occurred in July, but it takes time to get the toxicology reports back. So it was this
Do you
fall
want to
that
like
we
maybe
became aware.
exit
We
out and
spoke with our
then go back
surrounding
in?
counties, and they were seeing kratom with
Yeah. Cause,
mixed drug
I mean, I can
toxicity
hear it, but
in
it's only on one
non-standalone
thing.
cases.
It's only on
We
one of
continue
my
to get this
earbuds.
information out to our
And
overdose
Keith says
fatality
very
review
low but
team,
audible.
and
What's
as
up,
of
Keith and
this
Eugene?
meeting,
That's my little brother.
Oh, hey.
All right,
Hey,
let's
Broham.
see. Bro,
Yeah, your profile
Big
picture
Sis.
always it always cracks me up.
Oh, man. All right. So that's, I'm not even going to use, I'm going to go, not even in that tab. I'm pulling up a whole new tab.
Okay.
I don't, I hate technical issues, man. Let's see. Me. Oh, shit. Okay. Here. It's like that even on the original video. Like
What,
I'm
hearing it?
watching it. Yeah, just on one headphone.
No way.
much larger, the impact of kratom is
Yeah, before I even shared it. They must
ever
have something
imagined.
turned, and I mean,
In
there's
late
nothing like.
October, one of our members,
Fast forward and see if it's
who
like
is
that when
here with
everybody
us
else
tonight,
speaks.
thank you,
the difference sometimes between these two
Yeah.
drinks.
What
We're
is the
talking about
what?
kratom seltzer.
Low country got low audio.
Adams is known for his support for law enforcement and efforts to improve infrastructure and education,
Man.
consistently working to amplify the
So, and anybody watching, can y'all hear it? Like pretty good.
Okay, Eugene. Have fun. Be safe.
Have fun. Love you. Keep fighting the good fight. Always, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, anybody listening, is it low like that for y'all too?
Because I have my phone turned all the way up. So I'm going to.
Did you mute Jen?
Yeah. Yeah, it is low. You have to like turn your phone all the way up. Dude, this is crazy. And there's no setting on the YouTube that's like different. So it's got to be like
The voices and priorities of
and the volume's all the way up.
We are
Like what the hell?
Low. Can't hear it at all if you two speak. Not that I don't. Oh yeah, no. We try to be mindful whenever it's playing to shut the fuck up.
What? Maybe we could just do that. So I guess like people watching it, you can turn it up and we'll be quiet. That's the only other thing. That's the only thing.
That's just so weird. Like if for it to be only in one ear, side of my headset.
It's like I wonder what happened. No. I wonder if it like I can't imagine this being that like that. Like y'all need to upgrade y'all's stuff. South Carolina.
Yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to struggle
God,
because there's no other links so far. Let me go see.
hold on. Yeah, it's like that on their video. Like if you play their video on your phone, like I have my phone up halfway right now, and I can barely hear her. Like you have to turn it.
It's growing and growing and growing.
That's all the way up.
It's impacting us in a very negative
I mean,
And
that
I'm
sounds
holding.
better. That sounds better than the freaking audio on here.
Our eyes off the ball.
Well, that's because I'm holding it up to the mic.
Bill that passed legislation.
Like that's insane. You can barely hear it. Another day, another dollar. I don't know. Oh Lord. Okay, so I guess we're just gonna play it, and then if you're watching it, they need to upgrade their microphone and or sound system,
Mhm.
and instead of having town hall meetings about something they don't really need to be that concerned about.
Well, 708, yeah.
Well, that's true. But I'm sure they're gonna. Well, I'm not gonna be the judge. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how accurate they are in their.
Yep.
All right.
Start over.
All right. Here we go.
join me in welcoming Senator Brian Adams, who represents Senate District 44, serving Berkeley and Charleston counties. He was elected in 2020. Senator Adams brings decades of experience in public safety, having served as a law enforcement officer in North Charleston before entering public office. In the Senate, he's a strong advocate for community safety, responsible leadership, and policies that support families and local businesses across the Lowcountry. Senator Adams is known for his support for law enforcement and efforts to improve infrastructure and education, consistently working to amplify the voices and priorities of his constituents in the Lowcountry. We are grateful for his service, and we are honored to have him here with us today.
So I want to thank y'all for being here. It's a good showing. This is something that's very well needed. Kratom has been impacting our country and our state in a very negative way, and is growing and growing and growing, and it's impacting us in a very negative way. But we can't take our eyes off the ball. Last year we had a bill that passed legislation, And wouldn't you know it, the way our wording is, we have to go back and fix a little bit of it because the manufacturers figure out another way around it. And that, I promise you, we'll get that done and we'll take care of that this coming year. But we have to keep pushing forward, and things just like this will make others aware that they're unaware of. Because there's a lot of things out there other than just Kratom that our young people and others are using, that most adults my age that have older children or younger teenagers that are experimenting with a lot of these drugs. And we have got to make sure we have the resources out there. We got to make it sure that we all know and we spread the word. And you take what you learned tonight and share that with your neighbor and share that with friends and family that don't understand or know maybe something like this is going on. And then we as legislators have to make sure we give the tools for our law enforcement to go out and enforce these laws and to protect our young people and others that get impact. Because at the end of the day, the last thing we want as a parent or a grandparent is to have to bury one of our young people or a child that has become addicted to some of these drugs. And it's unfortunate that these synthetics are impacting us the way they are, but we just have to get wiser, and we can't take our eye off the ball at all. And I want to thank you all again for having me. This is a great turnout, and I'm looking forward to, because I think I'm going to learn a lot tonight, especially 28 years in law enforcement. Most of it was in narcotics, but drugs are always evolving and always changing. That's why we have to stay on top of it. So thank you all again.
Please join me in welcoming Representative Mark Smith, who proudly serves the South Carolina District 99 in the State House. First elected in 2016, Representative Smith is known for his thoughtful leadership, strong commitment to the Lowcountry, and his belief that government works best when it listens to the people it serves. Beyond the State House, Representative Smith remains deeply invested in his community, consistently working alongside local organizations, nonprofits, and civic leaders to improve the quality of life and create opportunity for all South Carolinians. We are grateful for his leadership, and we are honored to have him here today.
I feel like I should say my name is Mark Smith and I approve this message. Y'all, can I just say what an incredible turnout. Thank you, Senator Brian Adams. This truly blows us away. Tonight is a little bit different from our typical town halls that we host. And Senator Adams and I, why the two of us here together? Because we serve this area. You are our constituents. He represents the Senate chambers and I'm in the House. We have held many joint town halls together. Tonight's going to be a little different. Tonight is a listening town hall. Tonight, we actually sit here and listen to key stakeholders, bring valuable information that's going to help us have better, more quality bills written, debated, and get across the finish line. Because the number one job of government is what? To keep our citizens safe. And we want to make sure that we always stand with the blue, of course. We're going to make sure we always equip y'all to have the laws that you need to have on the books and keep our citizens safe. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out a tremendous opportunity here tonight, and I would want y'all to give a very heartfelt warm welcome to my colleague in the State House, Representative Melissa Arenas, drove here tonight from AB. Melissa, please stand up. Because no one of us gets anything done in government. You know that on municipal level, on the county level, state level, even the federal level. It takes the majority of folks to vote to move legislation forward. It's a team sport. So, Senator Adams, what I love about his servant leadership that I continue to try to emulate in my legislation in the State House is that we've eliminated the I, me, and my. It's we, us, and them, because that's how we get legislation done. And it's through being collaborative in nature, listening to key stakeholders, and then going to fight for what's right in the State House. And couple things I just want to say, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do what most of us in the room are going to do tonight, and that's listen and take a lot of notes. But y'all, we got a lot of different key stakeholders in this room. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. This is a safe place to be in tonight. Not safe that we're worried about your safety, because y'all, there's a lot of people in this room who issue has touched personally. We may have survivors sitting in the room. We may have folks who have been users who are trying to get through this tremendous season of their life. Or we may have someone who's just came out of that, or even going through it or about to go into it. No matter where you are on the spectrum, you're in a safe place. And if at any moment you need to step outside of the room to gather your thoughts, just please know that you're not alone. There's a lot of people in here who love you. Your life is important. It matters. And it does make a difference. And we want to let you know that we're here for you in any way that we possibly can be. So just know that that's important to us. I would kindly remind and ask you if you would take a moment, look at your cell phones, and just silence them so they don't ring during one of the presentations, or just turn them off. And just be present. I mean, we have everything from lawmakers, lawyers, judges, law enforcement, key stakeholders that are going to give us a lot of information tonight, and community members as well. All of you are welcome, and we thank you for being in this place tonight. And let's get this show on the road. God bless you guys. We love you.
Thank you all for being patient with me. I'm not a public speaker. I am very excited to introduce our next guest to you, Dr. Kelly Young. Dr. Young is an emergency medicine physician at Roper St. Francis, and she has been since 2016. The Emergency Department Medication for Opioid Use Disorder Program Director and Founder and Chair for Roper St. Francis Hospital's Substance Use Committee. Dr. Young is continuously working to improve treatment for patients with opioid use disorder in the ED and throughout the hospital system by increasing awareness, education, and access to evidence-based therapies. She is a member of the Tri-County and Berkeley County Overdose Fatality Review Team, and we are grateful to have her here this evening. Thank you, Kelly.
Hi, so my name is Kelly Young. I'm an emergency physician and kind of started my work in the substance use disorder world a few years ago when I kind of got voluntold to do this project to start getting buprenorphine available in our emergency departments. When I started to dive into the research and working with the stakeholders that we had already assembled for that project, I realized that it was just common sense and that we did a lot of training on stigma and just kind of trying to figure out how we could treat people with substance use disorders in the medical field better, because as many of you in this room know, and especially anyone who is in recovery or has a active substance use disorder, you're not always treated the best when you come to the hospital. So there are those of us there who are trying to work to make that better, and every little step helps. So tonight we're talking about kratom. So kratom is a tropical tree native to Southeast Asia. We can get in our available supplements or recreational substances the natural form, and there's also a synthetic form. The 7-hydroxy is made as the synthetic form, although there is some of that that is created in the drying of the natural plant. So what are the side effects of kratom? In low doses, kratom, it produces some stimulant effects. So users report increased alertness, increase in their physical energy, talkativeness. At high doses, people experience more of sedative effects. So it can mimic some of the opioid-like response. Kratom in those higher doses does hit the mu receptor in the brain, which is the same receptor that things like heroin and fentanyl, Percocet, all of those opioid medications hit to treat pain. What are some of the other things that it can do to our body? So it can cause nausea, itching, sweating, dry mouth, constipation, increased urination, tachycardia, vomiting, drowsiness, loss of appetite. And some people can even end up with weight loss, insomnia, and hepatotoxicity, which is problems with your liver. It can cause seizures, and it even can cause, in some cases, a psychosis or psychotic type symptoms, which include hallucinations. So, one of the things that I was invited to speak about was some kind of cases and what I've seen, and I kind of polled some of my colleagues to get a little bit more information for you guys. So I personally had a patient in one of our ERs a few months ago. This patient had a previous hip replacement, and she was young, like 40s, early 50s, had a previous hip replacement and had a mid-shaft femur fracture, so a periprosthetic fracture. That's a big bone in your leg. She's already had it worked on, and now it is broken in half. And she was in a lot of pain, as you would guess. So she'd already gotten fentanyl from EMS, did nothing. When I walk into the room and start talking to her, she grabs my arm and looks at me in the eye, and she said, "Doc, I use 7-hydroxy and kratom every day, and I know that you're going to have a hard time controlling my pain, but please try." I gave her more fentanyl. I gave her Dilaudid. I gave her ketamine. I gave her everything that I could get to, and by the time she was transferred out, this poor woman was still writhing in pain. It was not for lack of trying, and we were working with her throughout and kept redosing, but we just could not get her pain under control. Some of my outpatient colleagues have mentioned that they've had patients who were on long-term prescription opioids and wanted to get off of them, tried kratom, and then were suggested that 7-hydroxy was stronger and better and might work for them. Told it was much better. They, within a month, were taking 150 to 200 milligrams, spending about $100 a day on 7-hydroxy. A patient with anxiety who did an internet search, found kratom as a suggestion. They started taking 500 milligram capsules twice each day. Within a few months, had developed tolerance, had to take 40 grams per day to reduce their anxiety and avoid withdrawal symptoms. They had significant abdominal cramping and constipation. Somebody with a history of alcohol use disorder who was in remission, was suggested to try kratom for their anxiety and insomnia. They also, from their alcohol use disorder, had alcohol liver disease, and when they followed up with this provider, they were on 30 grams a day, and their liver disease had actually gotten worse rather than better, even though they had not been drinking alcohol. So there are a lot of different avenues that people end up deciding that this supplement, recreational substance, drug, however you want to term it, a lot of different avenues or reasons that people end up trying this product, and a lot of bad side effects that can happen. The marketing and commercialization of kratom and the highly potent synthetic 7-hydroxy has given the consumer the perception that the benefits are great and the risks are low. However, this is a false narrative. There are no FDA-approved uses for kratom. The risks are often high and sometimes require seeking professional medical help to get off the substance, and sometimes are treated the same way to get off of kratom or 7-hydroxy as we would treat you to get off of fentanyl or heroin with medications like buprenorphine. So I hope that this information was helpful, and you're welcome. Thanks.
we're going to see if we can. My name is Wayne Hutto. Well, that's good. Won't be able to click anything if I drop it. I'm the executive director of the Ernest E. Kennedy Center here in Berkeley County. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the perspective we have we are the county authority for Berkeley County for substance use. And what we're talking about tonight, as you know, is Kratom. And why does this matter? We're seeing increasing availability in our local stores. We're using rising use among adults and youth. We have growing presence in our treatment setting, but the common misconception is natural equals safe. And that's one of the things that gets all of us in trouble. These are pictures from Monk's Corner. These are pictures from right here in our town. But what is Kratom? And Dr. Young spoke to it, but the plant derived is what we basically started out with, but is sold as powders, capsules, extract shots, enhanced concentrated products. You see similar effects to opioids, as she spoke to, and many times it's used for pain relief, euphoria, sedation, but it leads to tolerance, dependence, withdrawal symptoms, and it clinically resembles opioid use disorder is what we're seeing within the Kennedy Center. Risk. This is not a mild substance. 7-OH is significantly more potent. Effects can vary widely by product and by dose. There's no standardization, dosing, or FDA oversight. And there's high risk of escalation and dependence is what we're noticing. Right here you can see from all these pictures, easy access. One of these stores is literally across from a school. Another is a vape shop. So it's sold in convenience stores, vape shops, tobacco stores. We know if youth can access vapes, they can access Kratom. This is one of our quotes. We have one of our officers here tonight, Lieutenant Chad Murray, who serves as our AET coordinator. And we're working closely with our law enforcement partners, but you can see here from his quote, Kratom and 7-OH are available at most convenience stores in every vape and tobacco shop in Berkeley County. Youth who have access to cigarettes and vapes have access to these products. Youth use and potential for addiction should raise sufficient concern for these products to be restricted in South Carolina. So thank you, Lieutenant. This is, if you see on the left, is Kratom strains. That's how many different strains they are of Kratom. The different colors represent some of the things they're supposed to provide. Energy, mood enhancement, pain relief, stimulation, sedation, relaxation. We don't know what we're dealing with. It's no longer from a farm. When we talk initially about the plant derivative, we know now most are coming from labs. Many products are extracted, they're concentrated, they're chemically altered, they're stronger and more unpredictable than traditional leaf use, and there's an increased risk of adverse effects and dependence. What we're seeing in treatment, we saw 91 positive urine drug screens at the Kennedy Center last year for Kratom. Of the 15 substances that we have on a standard drug panel, Kratom ranks among the top 5 most frequent positive results every time. Patterns we see are regular daily use, escalating doses, withdrawal symptoms, and it's often undisclosed. Many times somebody might not know that they are using that. All right, Levance, I heard your phone. Oh, okay. Oh, that's Pam. Oh, that's Dr. M. Okay. All right. So, okay. But when we look at stigma or we look at misinformation, a lot of times somebody might be shocked to know the effect it's having or that it's in their system. Medication-assisted treatment is one of our very successful programs at the Kennedy Center, but we're seeing treatment complications from Kratom. Some individuals come in, they use Kratom, as the doctor talked about, to get off of opioids or been told that. Some people require medication-assisted treatment to taper off of Kratom. Kratom can delay evidence-based treatment, it can increase a recurrence, and it can complicate your recovery plans. prevention implications. Many of you know my background is, prevention and community. And so prevention matters. We know youth perception is if it's legal, if it's pretty, if it's in the store, it must be safe, right? Well, it's not. Packaging and marketing appeal to our young people. There's a lack of awareness among all of us. Our prevention system alone are playing catch up on this information and the changes that occur every day with it. Our key risks are increased risk of addiction, mental health impacts, potential for polysubstance use, and a gateway into an opioid-like dependence. What helps is things like tonight: community solutions, community awareness, prevention and public health strategies, education for parents, schools, providers, the general public, early screening in healthcare and behavioral health, and clear policy guidance. So that's why we greatly appreciate those that are make policy sitting here tonight listening. And my final takeaway from the Kennedy Center is Kratom is not a harmless supplement. It's already impacting treatment and recovery systems in our state and our county. Prevention, education, and policy matter and can make a difference, and community awareness can reduce harm. Thank you for listening to my perspective from the Kennedy Center, and now I'm going to turn it off to another expert that will give us more information. And our next speaker is Alan Easler. Alan is a prevention coordinator at Cornerstone, the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Commission in Greenwood, Edgewood, good Lord, Greenwood, Edgefield, McCormick, and Abbeville counties. This is a sister agency of the Kennedy Center and part of our 301 system. He's worked in the substance use prevention field since 2000 as a certified senior prevention specialist. Prior to working in prevention, he worked as a high school social studies teacher, bless you, and as a newspaper reporter. He's a graduate of 96 High School and Erskine College in Due West. So, Alan, we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So, a lot of some of the materials I'm going to talk about, the doctor has covered and Wayme has covered, but it doesn't hurt to kind of reiterate it, maybe hear it from a different perspective. She said, I'm from Cornerstone, and I just want to make sure you're appreciative of my boss letting me come down here tonight and share information. I want to talk a little bit about the substance use treatment system in South Carolina, and then talk about environmental scans and how the information in these slides have been gathered and collected, and then we'll get into the meat of matter, talking about kratom and kratom derivatives. So, if you're not aware, in South Carolina, we've kind of started back about 1957 is when we started really starting to address the problem of addiction, particularly talking about alcohol. And we've progressed through the years till we just recently reorganized on the state level, combining mental health, developmental disabilities and special needs, and substance use all together into one state agency. Kennedy Center, Cornerstone, and all of us, we are part of what's called the 301 system, and this was created back in 1973. And South Carolina is one of the few states that has a system in place to where there is an alcohol and drug treatment agency in every county in the state. This is very rare when you look at other parts of the country. And so we contract with that state agency, and our state agency director is actually here this evening, so I appreciate you being here to support us this evening. And so there's 31, I believe it's 31, I think it's 31 county level agencies serving 46 counties. Cornerstone and Kennedy Center are two of those, but it doesn't matter where you go in the state of South Carolina, there's an agency in that county. We just recently celebrated 50 years of service. And we're also all part of what's called the Behavioral Health Services Association, and it's kind of our lobbying arm, I guess you could say, on the state level, to make sure that if there's issues related to substance use disorders, related to treatment prevention, that they can advocate for our system. An environmental scan, and it kind of makes sense when you start thinking about it, but it's a systematic observing and documenting of how alcohol, tobacco, and other substances are being marketed and sold in the community. We're looking for the risks involved, but we're also looking for protective ways, are there protective factors, or are there potential opportunities to reduce substance uses. So you're looking at what products are available for purchase, alcohol, tobacco, other substances. Where are they located, such as are they behind the counter, are they accessible? How and where are they advertised? Are the ads eye level with small children when they come to the counter? Is there drug paraphernalia present, such as glass pipes, tube roses, scales, grinders, etc.? The key thing is that what we know is that gas station drugs are very accessible and easy to get. They're offered in lots of flavors, and they're sold at cheap prices. And those three factors, when you get those combined, as a result, youth are more likely to use. Now, let's take a little detour because things have been in flux on the state level, particularly when it comes to another problem gas station drug. We're going to talk about cannabinoids and Delta 8s and Delta 9s and everything. So November 12th, we had the federal funding bill passed after the shutdown. There was a provision in that funding bill which limited the percentage of THC in hemp, and that goes into effect in November of this year. So essentially banning or potentially banning a lot of these products. But we also had a situation or some enforcement activities happening on the state level called Operation Ganjapreneur that was back in December. This was a state grand jury, the Attorney General, SLED, DEA all involved, and it resulted in 12 people being arrested by SLED, facing 40 different narcotic charges, 15 tons of allegedly illegal product being seized. Marijuana, pre-roll marijuana, cigarettes, vapes, oils, dabs, edibles, $2 million in cash and assets, and also more than 30 local and county agencies were also involved in this operation. So this is one gas station. This is actually a gas station that I stop at quite frequently in a little town called 96 in Greenwood County. So this is actually a Google Map screenshot. So that's a great way to do environmental scan is just go on Google Maps and see what products the places are selling. If you don't have the time to go visit it in person, a lot of times the stores themselves are going to tell you what they sell. So there I could see that they had THC gummies, THC pre-rolls, and THC vapes. In March. In October, they still had them. After Operation Ganjapreneur, it was all gone. They still had THC seltzers, those products, but all the other stuff was gone off the shelves. Now, that does not necessarily true in every county, though, because this was up just this past Sunday in Spartanburg County at a large chain gas station. They still had Delta products. Saw today, they're still here in Berkeley County, in some places, but not all places. So it's really the federal changes and the things happening enforcement-wise on the state level have got things flux when it comes in terms of the THC products, but it really hasn't necessarily affected the kratom products, but it's still, when you're starting to take an idea or get an idea, do an environmental scan, you've got to be aware of what's going on legislatively wise and enforcement-wise. And it could vary from community to community what's going on. So, sometimes it's obvious what places are going, what products a place is selling. Smoke shop, adult items, kratom sold here, lottery, everything else. Again, this is pictures from here. Again, one of the gas stations and one of the vape shops here in Moncks Corner. Also pictures from here in Moncks Corner. I think some of the ones that you actually were shared as well. So you see in the picture on the left particularly, you have its beer, but then at the top shelf, intermingled amongst the beer products is your THC products as well. Vape shop in Greenwood, vape shop in Newberry, gas station ads. This is actually a large chain gas station. One was actually, my caption was wrong. One's in Fort Mill and one was actually in Newberry, if I remember correctly, or Clinton. Sometimes it's not quite so obvious. They may have just a little tiny sign. And then, of course, on the door, they have these little stickers, and one of them tells you, if you know what you're looking at, okay, well, that tells me they're selling THC seltzer. That other little one tells me they got kratom. The other one tells me they've got nicotine vapes. And this is my little local gas station where I live in Slough County. I live just off the Lake Murray, and this is usually every weekend, stop in here and get a slice of Hunt Brothers pizza while I take the trash off. They had pretty much everything up until Operation Ganjapreneur. But in my little country gas station, we have our 708, we have our kratom, we have our kratom shots, we have our mushroom gummies, we have all our THC stuff and the nicotine vapes with our pickled eggs and our pickles and our moon pies and energy. All that right there. Everything you need. When you're doing an environmental scan, you're also looking for problematic product placement. So in this cooler on the left, top shelf is alcohol, second shelf is alcohol, third shelf is THC vapes. The fourth shelf is the good to grow little cartoon character fruit juice drinks for kids. And the bottom shelf is also juice. So you have alcohol, THC, and kids drinks, all in the same cooler. Problematic at best, because does the clerk even know what's the difference sometimes between these different drinks? The other cooler is you've got THC seltzers and everything on the top shelf, and part of the middle shelf commingled with prime energy or hydration drinks. So if you're a fan of WWE wrestling, you see the ads on the ring for prime energy drinks. You're also looking for drug paraphernalia, your pipes, your love roses. Let's see, it's the little, I don't know if we have the little, it was the little red box, those are the little love roses. A lot of times those are just cheap crack pipes or cheap meth pipes. And beside that is actually the silver screens that people would sit and insert into the pipes so that they wouldn't get burnt when smoking. But again, this is just paraphernalia that's in a gas station. We're pricing people into addiction. When two 5,000 Lost Mary nicotine vapes are $20, and to buy the equivalent amount of Marlboro Black cartons would cost 65, 70, let's say 70 times 5, $350, right? But yet I can buy two Lost Mary vapes with the equivalent amount of nicotine. We're pricing people into addiction. Alcohol price versus soda price. 79 cents for a Busch Ice or a Natty, 98 cents for an RC. And then you get your introductory prices for gas station drugs where you're looking at nicotine vapes for $5. When you could find the THC products, I know I've had several gas stations that had THC pre-rolls, which are essentially just marijuana joints, 2 for $5. And don't forget to check social media, because they're going to tell you on social media, all these places, what products they have, the vapes that they have, the fact that they've got the Delta drinks, or their specials that they're running on their products, whether it's $25 Delta products and $5 vapes, Black Friday sales, 12 days of Christmas sales. So, now let's get into the meat of the matter and talk about kratom. Now, a lot of this has been kind of covered, but we know it's from the tropical tree, Metrogenous specioso. This is a product that has been used for hundreds of years as a traditional remedy, much like coca leaves is used as a traditional remedy in South America. But then we started messing with it and started altering it and getting away from. And so we know kind of a little bit of the history in the United States. It kind of started coming here in the 1970s with Vietnam veterans as well as immigrants from Southeast Asia bringing it here as a remedy. And then in 2000, that's when we really started seeing it, the use crossing over into the general population. It's marketed as a focus and mood enhancer, energy booster, evening relaxer. Anytime you hear something like dietary supplement, mood enhancer, that should be an alarm bell. Something not right about that. But then pain reliever, helping with migraines, arthritis, and to quote-unquote allegedly help with opioid withdrawal symptoms. And you're going to see a lot of text down at the very bottom. Those are my citations. Those are the sources where I get my information from. So if this slide is shared later, you can see where I found this information, where I've gathered it from. How is it used? Typically, as the leaves are crushed and smoked, brewed as a tea, or powdered and swallowed as in gel caps. Now, there's different types, different veins, when we say veins or strains, quote-unquote, of kratom. We're close to the Charleston tea plantation. So we know that there's green, white, and black tea. They technically all come from the same plant. It's just how you process the leaves determines the type of tea. It's the same with kratom. And you may hear sometimes people say kratom. I don't know, it's just the pronunciation. Kratom just flows better off my southern tongue. You have red, green, and white kratom, and the only difference is when the leaf is harvested. Is it a mature leaf, a semi-mature leaf, or is it a young leaf? But supposedly, depending upon when it was harvested, it has different benefits. There's this, Karen.org has collected this information in a chart talking about supposedly what are the benefits at the different strains or the different veins of kratom. This is just a gas station display of different kratom, all the different ones with white and green. And Trainwreck essentially is everything's combined. All the strains are combined together. Green, violet, and so you see there's all kinds of different combinations. And we've gone into vape shop, I think it was in Columbia one time, and talking with the owner of the shop, and they actually had this handout they would give you and tell you all the benefits and explain all the differences between them. But again, who does the research on it? Who's actually verifying that this information is accurate? A lot of times this information that's been gathered is just kind of anecdotal evidence. There's no research behind it. Another gas station, you see also, it's just kind of commingled up there with the UPass toxin-free for research and novelty use only urine, so they can help you pass the drug screen, along with the CBD gummies. This is a gas station, I believe. Yeah, a gas station here in Moncks Corner on the left, and then a gas station here recently in Greenwood on the right. Again, it's commingled with a bunch of other products. Talking about dosage, Dr. Young mentioned talking about some folks who are taking 60 and 80 grams. To give you a kind of a context of what that means, one capsule is a half a gram. So if somebody's taking 60 grams, it means they're taking 120 capsules, right? A day. That's a lot. No wonder that's a lot. So, but like similar information, the low doses, it tends to have that mild to stimulant effect. That's 1 to 5 grams. High doses, 5 to 15, is more of that opioid sedative-like effect. And those are how you, in terms of what that means in terms of dosage. In terms of the capsules is one of the more frequent ones, but then you can have the teaspoon and tablespoon if you were making it as a drink. We know the adverse effects in terms of, talked about a little bit about that, about the nausea and the vomiting, constipation, respiratory depression, sweating, itching, heart palpitations. None of that sounds fun. The neurologic effects of hallucinations, psychosis, and seizures. Again, we know this is having a negative impact on people in our communities. And as an alcohol and drug treatment agency, we see clients who have been diagnosed with substance use disorders because of their kratom use. And the diagnostic criteria is the same no matter what substance you're talking about. If somebody's using a substance for longer than intended, using more than they intended, having cravings for it, continuing to use despite having negative consequences such as getting in trouble with the law, losing their job, having family problems, increasing the amount to have the same effect, and then experiencing withdrawals when they try to stop. Those are signs of substance use disorder. It doesn't matter what substance. In kratom, there are 54 natural alkaloids, and alkaloids kind of mimic other neurotransmitters, and they can stimulate or depress the central nervous system, impacting mood, pain, and consciousness. They can also be toxic, though, because causing organ damage, birth defects in high doses. In nature, they play a role. It tastes bad to a prey, to a bird, to an insect, so they don't eat it. So it's kind of those alkaloids play a role in nature, but for us, we don't necessarily. It doesn't have the same necessarily impact on us. We don't know not to eat it, not to drink it, not to eat it. The two main psychoactive compounds are metrogene and 7-hydroxymetrogene. Both bind to the opioid receptors, but they also impact other areas of the brain, including serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine receptors. The research says, particularly, this actually comes out of the DEA and from the FDA, talking about metrogene is about 25% as potent in terms of those receptors as morphine. But 7-hydroxymetrogene is 13 times greater potency than morphine. But we manage them similarly with naloxone if it's an overdose. There's mixed results in terms of effectiveness, but sometimes it's because you don't necessarily what all substances may have been used. You just kind of err on the side of caution and always use naloxone in the event of an overdose because you just don't know what substances have been used. We know there's been an increase in calls to poison control centers across the country. We know there's been hospitalizations, one to salmonella poisoning and heavy metal exposure, but also because of withdrawal symptoms. numerous overdose deaths, particularly when it's combined with other substances such as fentanyl or other opioids. So this is a graph showing the increase in calls to poison control centers since 2014 through 2024. There was a little bit of a dip in 2022, but it's still been climbing over those essentially 10-year period. And in 2025, approximately 40% of 708 reports were among individuals abusing the drug, according to the Poison Control Centers. Our South Carolina Department of Public Health has a partnership with a number of local hospitals where they collect samples from non-fatal drug overdose patients. Now, you'll notice on the map, this is from 2024. You'll notice that Berkeley County's not part of that partnership, so there's no data collected from through the public health partnership there. A number of counties are missing, you'll notice. However, amongst the counties that are participating, 1.8% of drug overdose patients tested positive for metrogynine in 2024 and 2% in 2025. So, but we know we're missing a lot of data from across the state, but that tells us alone that there's still an issue. There's still an issue happening in this state. Law enforcement, we know they're facing a challenge because, one, they're not testing for it, and unless you're a DRE, drug recognition expert, how do you tell what a person is on or what they're being under the influence of? It could be, you just don't know. Many standard toxicologies do not test for kratom. I would say, y'all do. I'm trying to remember if we do. I'm not sure. So unfortunately, if you don't test for it, then that impaired driver may appear to be clean in a lab result. And now you're complicated your enforcement in your court cases if you don't have evidence to sit there and explain why the person was driving erratically. This is at a large chain gas station in Greenwood, but I've also seen it in some other outlets of that large chain gas station. It's a chain gas station that's associated with Walmart. This is John Daly's brand kratom extract capsules. Yep. This is a kratom drink powder that I've seen quite frequently in a lot of gas stations. I saw it today. I've seen, it's in a lot of gas stations, a lot of vape shops. You also have kratom and kava being combined in an energy shot, a brand called Feel Free, but there's another one also called Viva Zen that has one particular model that's got the two combined. So if you combine, and it has a warning label on it just in case to be aware that this product contains leaf kratom, which, like caffeine and alcohol, can become habit-forming and harmful to your health. If consumed irresponsibly, consider avoiding any potentially habit-forming substances if you have a history of substance use. They have a warning label, tiny, on the box itself. So why would you combine the two substances together? Well, they have a potentiator effect. When you combine two substances together, it can magnify the impact of the substance. It can lead to a stronger high or a longer lasting high. That's why we combine aspirin with caffeine, because it helps actually the pain aspects of aspirin get into our system faster. But also people abuse it and they do cocaine and heroin together in the form of a speedball, or you have fentanyl and xylazine being mixed together. Combining kava and kratom together can lead to increased sedation, increased dizziness, and impaired cognitive function. These are your kratom energy shots mentioning the brand Viva Zen. This is quite frequent in a lot of gas stations across the state. Just looks like an energy shot, but when you get into it and you start looking at what it actually is, it's kratom. It is Metrogena specioso leaf extract. And they also combine it with some Pax ginseng root extract and make it sound like it's all healthy. The serving size is 1/4 of a bottle, by the way, on that, not the whole bottle. This is a vape shop in Greenwood. This was, I believe, it was in the fall because we were, Wayne mentioned about alcohol enforcement teams, and so every judicial circuit in the state has an alcohol enforcement team, and our coordinators meet on a regular basis to kind of discuss the issues that we're seeing in the state. Well, we met, and one of my counterparts and I were looking at this particular product I've got highlighted in red called OPMS kratom extract, and noticed that in the ingredients it has alcohol, but they were selling it in a vape shop. which doesn't have an alcohol license. So we brought that to the attention of SLED to go, maybe y'all should look into this and see what's going on. And so that quickly got that product pulled off the market. That's the benefit of doing an environmental scan, making law enforcement aware that this product is being sold and is illegal. You also have Kratom Seltzer. And for the longest time, I had not actually seen any Kratom Seltzer in my environmental scan until I ran across a couple of vape shops that have a cooler with metrogenine Kratom Seltzer. So I didn't see any today. I was actually looking for it, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's. I've heard my counterparts in the Low Country say they've seen it. Now, kratom derivatives, and the biggest one we're talking about is that kratom hydroxymetrogenine. It's naturally occurring in the plant, but it's only 2% of the total alkaloid content in the plant. It is tiny. However, it's substantially greater opioid receptor potency than just regular metrogenine. Like I said, 25% versus 13 times potency. There was an article, and I'll get into, Kansas City Star has done a great series of articles talking about the kratom impact in their city and the state of Kansas and the state of Missouri, and just how much it has impacted. And one particular person's quote in the article was, if traditional kratom is a cup of coffee, then 7-OH is a crack rock. This time last year, I did not know 7-OH existed. This was not brought to our attention on the state level until we had a training in February and said, this is a new product that you probably have not heard of, and had not heard of it, and left that training that day, started going to vape shops, and sure enough, yes, there it was. And all the boxes were empty. This is how popular it was and how much people were using it. It's commonly sold, you saw some pictures earlier, and I got some more. It's commonly sold alongside the raw leaf kratom and the kratom capsules over the counter, but it's also being sold online. Again, this is a vape shop actually that's here in Monk Corner. There's all your powdered kratom and leaf kratom, and then there's all the different types of 7-OH. There's also, I was looking for the laser pointer, on that top row of kind of the middle row, we'll say that. The middle row, there's a number of items there. They're called silly dots. Those actually aren't kratom. Those are actually mushroom extract tablets. Amanita muscaria, which is another gas station drug that we're seeing a lot of people having issues with. This is a vape shop in Greenwood, same situation where you see a lot of the 7-OH just being sold right alongside the powdered kratom as well. Now, the FDA says that given the tiny amount of 7-OH that's actually existing in the plant naturally, these products have to be synthetically created. Otherwise, it's not feasible for them economically to sit here and extract the 7-OH from leaf kratom. They're having to make it in a lab, to make it in the quantities that they're making it. Again, much more powerful, have a high affinity. It hangs on to that receptor in the brain much, much longer. So that's why it's so hard for people to get off of 7-OH. It's why the withdrawal symptoms are so hard and so hard on people. The respiratory depression, physical dependence, the classical withdrawal symptoms. As the doctor has said, we know it's highly addictive. We know it's dangerously potent. From my perspective, I was actually sharing with Dr. Young earlier. Well, we have a doctor in our local hospital who's talked about how many people are in the ICU, having to be in the ICU because they're being treated for the withdrawal symptoms from 7-OH. It is impacting so many communities. I was actually in a convenience store, and I was actually playing dumb because I was asking about where all the Delta 8 gummies went. Because this was like, where'd they all go? Well, they pulled all of them, but they need to be pulling this stuff here, is what the clerk said. At the same time, there was a gentleman there who was buying some of this 7-OH that she was pointing to, and he's like, I know it's bad for me, but it gives me energy to get through the day, but the coming down at night is hell. He knows it's not good, but he's addicted. Unfortunately, he's addicted. He's dependent upon it. According to those who use, talking to some of our clients, it's just like taking a Percocet and it's legal heroin. Some of what the key informants with some of our clients have said about it. Price ranges from $10 to $50, depending upon the dosage, and this is what in a gas station in Greenwood. Even my little gas station down in Saluda County, it's $20 for 15 milligrams or $30 for 30 milligrams. Some of the ones that have been seen here, again in Moncks Corner. This was the gas station up in Chesney that I saw on Sunday, where they had 7OH, that's circled in the yellow. And all the other ones are the other various forms of kratom. And this was a large chain gas station. It actually rather surprised me that they had this product. It's like seeing a Spinks or a QT with it. It's like, they're selling this? This is weird. Gas station in Prosperity on the way to Newberry. So one, they had a special on the 15 milligrams of. You could buy one for 14, or for $5 more, you could get two. They also have now metrogene shots, 7OH metrogene shots. Again, some of the same products. This is concerning, particularly when you think about, are they targeting our kids or not? Because the real kid products are the ones up on the top shelf, and the 7OH products are the ones on the bottom row. And the colors, how similar they are, the names, the fonts. Tell me they're not targeting our kids. And this is actually, I have to credit StopGasStationHeroin.com for putting that together. Because again, this is being sold gas stations, it's being sold in vape stores, it's being sold online. There's also some other derivatives of 7OH that we're starting to see out there. There's metrogene pseudominox. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not going to try that second one. And then MGM-15 and MGM-16, but the research says these are all being created by modifying 7OH, and appears to be even stronger than 7OH. This is why the legislation is important to amend the legislation that's pending to take into account any derivative that could come afterwards, to be clear enough but also vague enough to so that if they can't just change one molecule and all of a sudden it's legal again. In July 2015, the FDA sent warning letters to 7 companies warning them that they were illegally marketing 7OH products, saying, it's not lawful in dietary supplements, you can't add it to conventional foods. Remind them, hey, there's no FDA-approved drugs that contain 7OH, and it's illegal to market any drugs containing 7OH. One of the companies is a company called Shaman Botanicals, LLC. Their parent company is a company called CBD American Shaman, LLC. They were one of the companies that got the warning letter. But it also turns out that Shaman produces 7OH products for dozens of other companies, including the other 6 companies that got warning letters. It's called basically white labeling. They make it, and then they put the other company's label on it. CBD Shaman is founded by a Kansas City businessman named Vince Sanders, and this is talking about that newspaper series out of Kansas City and all the research they did into this. This guy's got an interesting history in terms of federal conviction for marijuana trafficking in 2000s, where he and his wife were moving approximately 120 to 180 pounds of marijuana every month for 10 years. Once they got caught, they turned on their supplier, so they only got 32 months. After that, he went into auto title loans, high interest car financing. They got sued a lot of times for failing to return titles to customers. So then he operated a tooth whitening business in a local mall. They got shut down by the state dentistry board for practicing dentistry without a license. So then in 2012, he got into making CBD. And now he's facing several class action lawsuits and investigations due to 7OH deaths and addiction. Now, he claims credit for seeing the potential for developing 7OH as a retail product. Now, he's a good salesman, so take his claim with a grain of salt. But his company is documented as being the second largest supplier of CBD and THC products in the country in 2020. And they also distributed or potentially also made, can't prove it, another product called Nature's Fix or tianeptine, which was recalled by the FDA and pulled off the market in 2024. So this guy's got his hands on a lot of things. In November, they seized approximately 73,000 of his products from a warehouse But he's in the article he's quoted as saying, the seized units were only a small portion of the products in the warehouse, and employees were continuing to make the products while the agents were seizing and tagging the products. And so we literally sat there continuing to make the same products that they were taking. Just weird. But it's one of the, he seems to be, his company is a large player in this market. And July 29th, this is when the FDA recommended that DEA list 7-OH as a Schedule 1. Now, this process, that takes some time on the federal level, unfortunately, to get a product onto Schedule 1. But the FDA Commissioner, Marty McCary, said at the time that 7-OH is more potent than morphine, and we need regulation and education to prevent another wave of the opioid epidemic. We do have a law on the books here in South Carolina right now that says you got to be 21. It's illegal to sell kratom products, including extracts and concentrates, to anyone under 21. It has to be behind the counter or otherwise inaccessible. You have to have there's ingredient labeling requirements, and there's fine first offense for 1,000, second offense 2,000. Pending legislation. This is where I'm glad y'all are here tonight, because I know y'all. I think you might maybe sponsors or co-sponsors of these bills. But one is to add it to the state Schedule 1, and the other one is to change the description what constitutes a kratom product. So if this is something you're interested in, these are some bills you can actually comment. Let your local leadership, let your local legislators know how you feel about this. If you want to keep up with some national fads, national trends, and news, highly recommend you follow a gentleman named Jermaine Tallcott Galloway at Tallcott Says Stop. He keeps his fingers on the pulse of what's going on nationally. He is a great resource to follow. Follow him on Facebook, follow him on YouTube. He also has podcasts. Another one is Deputy Dave Gomez. He has lots of great parenting tips. You can find him on Facebook, and also Smart Approaches to Marijuana. Learnaboutsam.org. They don't focus just on marijuana. They focus on a lot of different substances, but there would be a great follow. They have a weekly newsletter that kind of sums up news and whatnot's going on legislatively wise, trend wise. Here in South Carolina, we have a great parenting campaign called OpenConversationSC.com, because it's just encouraging parents to have these conversations with their kids. It doesn't have to be awkward, but it is never too early or too late to have these conversations with your kids. And if you're not aware of it, we also have a great stigma reduction campaign called EmbraceRecoverySC.com, because we know people can and do recover. People can go on to lead healthy and productive lives, and that's what we exist for as a system, is to help people get to that point where they're back to being healthy and productive in their lives. We can all work together on these issues. This is something we can get behind. And I know we'll move on, and we'll turn it over to Abby from Wake Up Carolina.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for being here. This is really exciting just to look around and see how many people have shown up from so many different walks of life. And I think the most important thing is this piece is the awareness. I'm Abby Foster from Wake Up Carolina. Nancy asked me to come and speak with you all this evening. Regrettably, she was not able to be here and was really disappointed when she realized that she was not going to be, so you guys got me. But I am honored to be here. I am a clinical social worker. I work full-time with Wake Up Carolina, and not in a clinical capacity, but in a community resource capacity. I'm the CARES Program Coordinator, which stands for Community Collaborative Access to Resource, Education, and Support Services. And I serve both in the Charleston County as well as up here in Berkeley County. So everything that I've heard tonight, as has been said, is right here in our literal backyard, as well as in Charleston County and collectively through the state and within our country as well. What Wake Up Carolina does, we're a recovery community organization. So what that means is all of our services are, they're not clinical services. Most of them are peer support. One of the things that I'm most proud of that I can claim is not something that has earned me letters behind my name, but I'm a individual woman in long-term recovery myself. So I know what it's like to be on that other side of the desk or the other side of the couch or the other side of that courtroom or hospital or emergency room department, be terrified and be in a place that you find yourself feeling hopeless and dark and afraid and not knowing if there's a way to get out. And I can tell you what is true for me, that I feel pretty confident saying safely for other individuals, is nobody grabs a product, whether it's from a gas station, with the plan of it causing harm, tearing their life apart, and hurting the people that they love. And I see a lot of head nodding, so I know that there are a lot of people in this room that understand that. So at Wake Up Carolina, the services that we offer, we serve individuals, young adults, and families impacted by substances. All of our services are free. An office here in Moncks Corner as well as in Mount Pleasant. We offer meetings, individual peer support, and we focus on education, awareness, and helping people navigate those, the systems, sometimes the 301 systems, and whatever is going to be appropriate for the individuals, because as everything, not everyone fits into the exact same solution box. And what I want to reflect is kind of repeating what has already been said. Is we have calls with individuals sharing their stories, specifically about Kratom, people seeking detox specifically for Kratom, and it's impacting people of all sorts of walks of life. I've heard many stories shared by people in long-term recovery looking for ways to manage their pain a safer way, not wanting to go and get to fill the opioid prescription from the doctor, because I've been down that road. I know what that was like. I'm not going there. Thinking that, again, I love, oh, it's natural. It's at a gas station. It's fruity. How dangerous could it be? And that, just being naive, and then suddenly finding themselves in a position of, I can't do this thing. I can't do regular life, get out of bed without this thing. And that's the thing that I hope everyone really takes away today. And I love how someone had mentioned, share what you hear here tonight. Have those conversations. We can't do anything if we're not talking about it. And as mentioned, I was not aware. I've heard of Kratom, but had no idea of its impact or what it was going to look like a year ago. So the education piece is so important, because I think, similar to kind of what I enjoyed how you touched on cannabis. It's very similar. I think a lot of people innocently kind of come into it thinking, oh, how bad could it be? Thinking of what may have been, the cannabis of their day, which is not what we're dealing with now. And if it's called, it's called Kratom, so, oh, well, it's got to be this thing. And it's just not anymore. It's synthetic, it's altered. It was, beyond the capacity of what our bodies can tolerate, hence the increase in the poisoning, the ER visits, my heart just hurt for that woman. I can't imagine the amount of pain she must have been in and not being able to get ahead of that. So yes, on the county level, we are seeing an increased need for this, and really wanting to be as proactive and responsive in real time as we can. It was, until recently, it was really difficult finding help for individuals who needed medical assistance to detox off of Kratom. And because we're having these conversations and people are becoming more aware that, that is decreasing, we are able to help people with that need. And what I just want to highlight, for us at Wake Up Carolina, all of our services are free and available, and we just want people to know, as was also addressed, is by having these conversations and standing up and people sharing their stories of like, hey, yeah, this happened to me too. Yes, I've walked through this, right? It's making it harder for that stigma to exist, because it's when we feel like we're alone and nobody gets it and that we are full of shame, that's when these things thrive, right? When we keep our mouths shut and we don't say anything. So, to let people know that, as with Kennedy Center, as with all the 301s and even with the coroner's office, I know that, calling and reaching out, there are people that do care, as was said, that, you are loved, your life is important. Every single person's life's important. I never in a million years would have thought that I'd be standing up in front of a group of people talking about recovery and things of that nature. And it's important that people realize that they're not alone, and because it can feel, especially with products like this, people can kind of feel duped. A story that was shared with me was an individual that does not struggle with substance use disorder and was avoiding alcohol just for a lifestyle preference because it's poison. It's their words, and went and was purchasing a THC drink that they did not realize was mixed with kratom. After consuming some of the product, realizing pretty quickly, this feels different, something's not right, and had to go to the emergency room because of the effects that happened. So it's, again, kind of like wanting to address the fact that this affects everyone. It's not just something that affects people that may struggle with substance use disorder, but any consumer, any person that walks into a gas station. As a mother of a 14-year-old boy, and having those conversations, we need to have these conversations and doing what we can to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and our citizens and our future. Because it does have that potential of what we know. We already know what this could look like, and because we're aware of it, we have the opportunity right now to take action in real time and start addressing it. And I'm just so grateful, for everyone that came here today to help put that together and start these conversations. And it really excites me for that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Abby. I'd like to call one of our, Matthew Hunter up for us, please. He wanted to share his story with us, and we wanted to hear it.
This is the guy in the news stories.
Hi, this is weird for me. I never thought I'd be standing in front of a group of people talking about this ever in my life. So many people. I'm a recovering addict. I started early when I was 14, probably. I went through rehab after rehab and all that for years, and finally got clean, and was clean for 6 years. And then I saw, in the stores, the little advertisements for Kratom. And I had seen it in the past, and I took it in the past, the leaf, the powder. And then I see these little pills here in the little single packets. And I, being an addict, like, ooh, that's intriguing. So, I bought them, and the first ones I took, I told my wife, like, this could be a problem, because instantly it was like the first time I took OxyContin. I mean, it is so strong and so powerful. I ended up getting addicted to it, like, right off the bat. Terrible. I mean, so fast. And the need for more was even worse than prescription pills. Like, the craving for it was a lot worse. It was a lot different. So, fast forward, I woke up one morning, and I was boiling eggs, of all things, and I passed out, blacked out. I dumped the hot water all in front of me. I spent a month in MUSC in the burn unit to take care of it. But when I got there, they're just talking to me because I don't remember most of that. They couldn't control my pain with all of the stuff that they had because of the kratom use. So all of the scrubbing and all that they had to do, like, had to feel all of that. So, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, if you're wondering if it's that bad, it's that bad. So, if you got kids or family members even, you know, there's not enough talking in the world to explain to them how bad it is and how much they need to stay away from it. I ended up losing my job over it. It just about put me into complete, you know, back into addiction. So I found the Kennedy Center there, and it literally, like, they saved me. So I do want to say thank you to you guys. And that's about all I can say about it. But it is real when you can walk into a gas station like that. And I mean, honestly, it was better as a drug addict to have that than it was the pills, because it was right down the street. So that's about all I've got. But thank you for listening.
Thank you, Matthew. It's hard to speak after that because you're why we're here. We don't want anyone else to have to go through what you went through. Next, I'd like to introduce to you my boss, the Berkeley County Coroner, Darnell Hartwell. He has been with the coroner's office for 20 years. He has been serving as coroner for just over 3 now. Under his leadership, the coroner's office has shifted from not only working death investigations, but also focusing on death prevention. This is being done through community awareness, outreach, education, and collaboration. Coroner Hartwell is passionate. He's committed to serving the citizens of Berkeley County. He serves with respect, dignity, compassion. We appreciate his dedication to this effort, and we look forward to hearing from him at this time.
Good evening, everyone, and thank y'all all for being here today. As Allison stated just a few minutes ago, Berkeley County is my home. My entire career, I served here in Berkeley County, and for me, it's more than a job. It's personal. Last year, we did almost 2,000 cases in Berkeley County. Believe it or not, Berkeley County is growing, but we still knows a lot of people here in Berkeley County. I have had family, parents, fathers, mothers come to me telling me that their children is addicted to drugs, and it's only a matter of time before they be in my office. And when they do come, please take care of my loved one. And again, for me, that's hard to hear a family member or a parent come to me with those kind of thoughts and concerns. So again, as I stated a few minutes ago, for me, it's more than a job, it's personal. When I took office about 3 years ago, me and my team, we were able to develop a community outreach team that's Allison fulfilling, and I could see very early on that her calling was in the community outreach and the community stuff that we were doing. So again, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my team. I'm grateful for the people that's here today. There's a list of people that I want to acknowledge a little bit later on. And again, I'm going to try to be respectable to their position, but for us here in Berkeley County, we work very, very, very hard in prevention. All of us is on first name basis. We got each other's cell phone numbers. We constantly communicate. For us today, you know, we do this on a norm. We communicate all the time about different resources, different programs that's available here. Again, it hurts my heart to know that we have this problem here in Berkeley County, the Low Country, even the state, but it also makes me proud to see our elected officials, see our prevention partners, our law enforcement partners, our solicitors, all in this room today. We all meet more than once a month and discuss different things and different programs and stuff that's available. So again, know that we are here to support you, we are here to work with you as well. Just today, so a little bit about the coroner's office. Our job is to investigate deaths and things of that nature as well, but what we do here in Berkeley County, we take it one step further. We still have HIPAA laws and all those things that we have to abide by as well. But when we have somebody that dies and we suspect drug overdose, we are able to get toxicology, and we use those numbers. Again, we don't use names and things of that nature, but we use those numbers and we share those information with our prevention partners, our law enforcement partners, our solicitors. Those things for our law enforcement partners, our prevention partners are able to put feet on the ground. They're able to get the resources to the people that needs it as soon as possible. But also for us here in Berkeley County, it's also is expensive. Last year in Berkeley County, I spent $475,000 in Berkeley County last year on toxicology and autopsy testing. I had a meeting today with one of my council members getting ready to ask for another $100,000 in the next year budget. So that's that's $500,000 that we're spending here in Berkeley County to making sure that we are properly investigating these deaths, but also making sure that we are getting accurate information quickly to the people that we need to get it to as soon as possible as well. So again, I want to thank our county supervisor, our county finance team, our county council members for allowing that to happen for us as well. Mid-budget this year, we asked council for another $35,000 just to be able to do events like this, community outreach, making sure that we are putting the information in your hands, making sure that the people that needs to know the information is getting as well. So again, Berkeley County is dedicated. Our team, not just the coroner's office or the people that I stated, but our county leadership is dedicated to making sure that we are standing strong and making sure that we have the resources and all the education that we need for our families here as well. So again, all that was just a little side note. I have some stuff that I needed to go over, so I'm going to read from this today. But again, thank y'all each for being here. Thank you for your continued efforts. Thank you for your willingness. Thank you for your prayers. We have our Berkeley County probate judge in here as well. He has drug court. We work with him very closely as well. I want to thank Representative Mark Smith and a few others that came before me that spoke about this. Majority of the information that we're talking about today is things that's happening again in our back door. These are family members that we know. These are people that we're seeing in the grocery stores. These are people that we're seeing in the doctor's office and things of that nature. Just know that there's people in this crowd that has lost loved ones to drugs, opioids, and things of that nature. So again, thank you, Representative Mark, for pointing that out, that there are hurting people in here. There are family members that's hurting, that's still in the grieving process. This information that we're talking right resonating in them as well. So again, keep these families in your prayers, keep them in your thoughts as well. My mind went back just a few minutes ago. A few years ago, we had a young lady that was at the top of her game in the medical field. She went to one of the local gas stations and got gummies. First time she ever took the gummies, from statements that we got from witnesses stated that these gummies did something to her that they never saw before, and she took her life. At the peak of her career, bright, beautiful young lady, but because she took these gummies and they're not FDA approval and all these things stuff are being made in labs, just no telling what she got, the doses that she had, and she took her life. And that's something that the family is still battling with today because they didn't see none of the signs, didn't see it at all. But one night she decided, matter of fact, she was undergoing a test the next day. She wanted something to calm her down a little bit with anxiety. She went in the store and got the gummies, and unfortunately, she took her life. So again, we see things like this all the time in Berkeley County, and again, this is why we are here today, to prevent this from happening again, and also to let people know that we care and that we love them. The Berkeley County Coroner's Office has felt the effects of kratom over the last year in many ways. We have seen it appeared in multiple fatal overdoses, some kratom only, and sometimes mixed with other drugs. We have seen it in fatal motor vehicle collisions as well. We have families that have expressed concerns that their loved ones needed help before they end up in our offices. The information presented to you this evening is factual information. It's evidence-based. The drug is sold in almost every gas station and every vape shop in our county and state. It is sold at the Sunoco gas station on Highway 17A in Main Street. They have a neon sign advertising kratom. That gas station is directly across the street from the Next Steps Learning Center, formerly known as the Alternative School. It is seconds away from children already considered to be at risk. We can no longer claim we don't know. The information has been presented in a clear manner tonight. The question is now, what will we do with the knowledge we received tonight? It is time to speak up. Let this be a call to action by everyone. Every state that borders South Carolina has already banned it. Florida issued an emergency declaration to stop the sale of kratom in 2025. We do not like being known as the gas station heroin capital of the United States. It is time to do something about it. I would like to thank the panelists for educating us, taking the time to share the message with us, and sharing their life-changing story this evening as well. Before I go any further, Alice, you want to come up now? You'll be the question and answering.
We're going to do some question and answers. Wendy, if you want to.
Okay. So at this point, we're going to have some questioning and answering. Ms. Whammy Huddle, if you can direct us with that.
We're going to take about 5 or 6 questions, if there are 5 or 6 questions out there before we wrap up. We know it's getting late and it's a weeknight. But if you have any questions and would like to direct it towards one of the panelists, they'll be glad to come up and answer your question.
I was just wondering if, as it stands now, is there any legal recourse for parents or family members or concerned people to pay for, sue for liability and losses from this kratom?
I'm not aware of anything at this point about any lawsuits or anything with liability.
Okay, so you can't sue them for?
Not at this. I don't have that answer for you. I haven't heard of anything regarding that.
Legal, then there's no recourse. There's nothing for us to prosecute because there's nothing in law. That's why we're working to
Weird thing to ask.
ban it completely. So we got to get the General Assembly to hear your passion and hear. So you need to make sure everybody knows how we feel about it to get it out there. But until then, no.
You freaking scared me when you spoke.
I was trying to be kind of quiet.
Products like K2 in the past, synthetic products that were sold in gas stations. This type of thing happened before, and then they get banned. I mean, what's to say this doesn't happen again? And then, they get creative again, and then, get around the laws again. That's the question.
They don't want to see it go anywhere. They're not here in the stores. They're not in the trenches. And so we the lobby can buy you, and I'm saying that legislators are being bought, but they can get to you. They can say, oh, you're trying to take my ability to make a profit. You're trying to shut my business down. It is completely safe. And so they spin the narrative. And so that's what I'm not I'm just real passionate about this. I know this isn't my town hall or whatever, but I'm just like, let me get them. But anyway, so, I mean, that's why we need groups of people and to stand up. And we need groups like this to, when we have these hearings at the State House, don't be silent. We need to hear from everybody. We need to hear the effects. We need to hear the testimonies as well.
I would say one benefit is because we did ban K2 and we figured out what we had to do was K2 and all the derivatives of it. We had to do that legislatively. It worked. Unfortunately, yeah, we have bad actors who go, oh, hey, here's a new product. Let's get this in there. This is highlighting that one particular gentleman. He has lived his life on the edges of doing that. And there's more than just him that does it. So, but the good thing is the legislature knows how to fix these problems. We have to get it there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm speaking for the people in recovery. I myself is in recovery. You know, with Kratom, I found out from my own research over the years, you get a person who's in treatment, they're in recovery, but they don't want to go buy the fentanyl, they don't want to go buy the crack or cocaine, none of that other stuff there. They don't want to go to the drug spot, but they're going through something and they don't want to talk about it, whether it's something that's taking on some anxiety or depression. They want to get something to get the edge off. Now, one of the good things I heard is that now a lot of drug tests have kratom. It was one time when people would take the kratom, they know there was no drug test for it. So now they got the edge, so what they will do is go get the kratom, and let me tell you, the addict, our minds will say, man, it's in the store. It's okay. It don't cost that much. No one's got nothing going to know. It's not like fentanyl. It's not like meth. It's not like the other. We will tell ourselves stuff like that. So I heard the legislation speak, but at the heart of the matter, the ones in recovery, the young lady who lost her life, it comes back to people like myself who are fighting this battle. It gets hard, but it's definitely rewarding to be here to represent just not myself, but many others who are here or not here who are in recovery. This kratom thing is affecting a lot of people. It's affecting the families. It's affecting those who are watching the people in recovery. You're in recovery, but now you're taking kratom, all this other stuff. So I'm grateful for the treatment providers who are getting educated on this and educating clients as they come in. It's very important because it's very important that the mind of the addict, those who are providing treatment, to understand, because we will psych ourselves out and say, take the kratom. And just like that, you know what, it's just that gateway. As the gentleman was sharing, and you right back to what you was doing. So it's a never-ending cycle. It all comes down to people got in the stores, they're making money. And I'll close with this. I was at a 12-step meeting. This guy walked in. My homegirl had never seen him before. This guy, he came in, clean cut. He started crying, and they asked him what was going on. He said he lost everything, his job, behind kratom. He said the stores he was getting from, they would sell out. It got to the point there where they hooked him up where he was ordering overseas and he was getting packages. He said his marriage lost, 18 years, his job, he was having withdrawals, he didn't know what to do, his first meeting, and the only thing he ever did was kratom. So it's real.
Hi, my name is Zach Mitchell. I run a sober living here in the Tri-County area. Over the last couple of months, we've seen a lot of people return back into our program for problems with this that are just as involved in different courts that should be testing for this. Is there anything right now that the local, these courts can do to like test for this and put prevention measures in place to, you know, start flagging people that are using it?
just know, like the Kennedy Center, we have now added it to our panel during testing. And that.
Thank y'all for coming out. My name is Corey McClary. I'm with the city of Goose Creek. Thank you, Representative Smith, Senator. No, I'm saying that I was thinking about, she came out with Macon, and I was just thinking like, wow, she and the representatives and Brian just always been that guy, Senator Brian Adams. But I wanted to know from you guys, with all the legislation that was going forward, where do we actually go with prevention? How much of the new legislation do you guys think should be toward prevention? Because we hear all the stories and everything else, but how much of where we're going next do we allocate resources for, starting at K-12 all the way up to, even in some of our community centers and things of that nature. So how much do you guys think that we should allocate for prevention?
Yeah, again, Councilman, thank you very much for being here tonight and being a part of it. I mean, as we all know and we've heard, we know the first step is recognition, right? And the fact that y'all are here, education, awareness, that's how we change. When we come together, have open, honest, and let's also be real, very hard conversations. When we hear the coroner talking about and funeral home owners talk about cases have names. Those names are our parents. It's our siblings. It's our children. These are real lives that we're talking about. And those of you that are here tonight and going through recovery, thank you for being here. And thank you for taking that step to be here. And thank you for speaking up and sharing. How much should we allocate toward prevention? Every single penny that we can. That's how we make a difference. That's how we move the needle forward. It is hard to hear some of those questions that are being asked. What do we do? And why can't we prosecute? When they change the formula just a little bit, I'll let Senator Adams, who's our former law enforcement for many years, when they change the formula a little bit and put a new package on it, Alan shared that with us. Now we're constantly chasing another rabbit down another hole. So we're going to continue to do any and everything that we can to keep y'all as well as our own families safe because we're in this together.
Yeah, I just touch on that. I mean, somebody mentioned K2 earlier. We made K2 illegal. Kratom popped up. Eventually, we're going to make Kratom illegal. There will be something else that will pop up that we will have to battle and beat. But this starts at a very young age. Parents being involved with their kids, telling them what's dangerous. Aunts and uncles being involved with their nieces and nephews, telling them what's dangerous. Parents watching their older kids, telling them what's dangerous. Getting involved. Being involved and making sure you're guiding them in the best direction and knowing who they're around. Taking this information y'all are getting tonight and being involved. Sharing it with family members and friends and letting them know exactly. Because I am sure that drugs have touched just about everybody in here, a family member or something like that. My oldest brother couldn't get away from it. He passed a couple years ago from drugs. So it impacts everybody in here, and I've been fighting it my entire life through law enforcement, and the other gentlemen and ladies in here that are in law enforcement, they will be fighting it their entire career. The ones that come after them, they're going to be fighting an entire career, and the best way of doing it is getting ahead of it, stopping those and teaching them and keeping them away from it as best as we can. We can put money towards it all day long, but if we don't interfere with that line, it's going to keep growing, and it keeps impacting us all. So, yep, We got to be engaged with our children and let them know what's going on.
All right. Again, we want to thank everyone for being here today. Again, we want to thank our state legislators for being here. These guys here got a tough job. You know, everything that was said here tonight is good information for them to have and to know about when they're sitting up there in Columbia representing us. Y'all are our constituents. My office is elected as well. But just know this, and they touched on this a few minutes ago. These store owners, these companies have deep pockets, and they pay people to be in Columbia to get in these guys' ear. And everything that we talked about tonight, they will find a way to flip it around to make it look rewarding, make it look good. But again, it's great to be able to have them here so they are able to hear some of the life experiences, hearing the things that's happening in the Low Country. So when they're there casting their votes or supporting these bills, they know what's going on. They have spoken to their constituents, and they can, you know, make South Carolina safer again. So again, thank each and every one of y'all for being here today. I know you have busy schedules as well. So in closing, there's some agencies that I want to recognize tonight. Hopefully we have them all. If not, I do apologize. But we have the Mount Scorner Police Chief Antoine Richardson that's here tonight, Representative Mark Smith, Senator Brian Adams, Berkeley County Council Member Jared Brooks, Mrs. Sear Goldsby, Office of Substance Use Services, Berkeley County Probate Judge Keith Canarians, Goose Creek Police Chief, Chief L.J. Roscoe, Scarlett Wilson, the 9th Judicial Solicitor. We have Corey McCleary, Goose Creek City Council Member. We have Captain Dirks with the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office that's here. We have representatives from the Hanahan Police Department, the Somerville Police Department, Berkeley Community Mental Health, the Mount Scorner Fire Department. And again, if there's any agency that I forgot or overlooked, I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay in the room to see who I can see. But again, thank each and everyone for being here. Berkeley County EMS, Stewart sits on our OFR board as well.
I think this is good. Do you want me to keep playing?
Nah, you could end it. It's like watching the credits of a movie.
Yeah.
Man, this pisses me off, you guys. If like I just commented, if you're a Kratom advocate and you support 7OH, fuck you. Fuck you. This right here is the ramifications of this bullshit. What did Mike say? No, Mike, in their presentation part, they did separate it.
They did.
But people in the audience still, in my opinion, they probably still don't understand the differentiation between it.
Yeah, it's not even hard to understand. Like it's just not that complicated. Like they make it so complicated, or they're not hearing all of it. You know, I don't know.
You cannot
take a genius to figure it out.
Like, I understand that everybody wants to be able to ingest whatever they want in their body. Cool, fine, whatever. Do that. I don't care. But you're not out here. You're not seeing what we're seeing. What we just watched, the South Carolina Town Hall meeting, is pretty much what we watch during the hearings and shit that we have to try to save Kratom for. If you don't attend these hearings, of course you're not going to understand why I'm so pissed.
Yeah. Day after day after day after day.
They're having problems in their communities from 7OH. They're not having problems from Kratom.
If that were the case, then the shit would have hit the fan a long time ago. We're seeing an uptick in all this shit because of 7OH being out on the market. And people calling it freaking Kratom when they go to rehabs, when they call Poison Center, when they go to ER, they're calling it all Kratom. Period.
Because that's how it's been sold to them.
Yeah.
The 7OHers still want to call it a Kratom alkaline. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because that.
Yeah, this shit with Ohio, man, Mike. So there's going to be an AKA webinar on Saturday night. So make sure y'all attend that so that we can find out what the next steps are going to be.
And we plan to, on Saturday before the webinar, we're going to show the recording that we watched that Board of Pharmacy meeting. And it was a shit show. But anyway, we figured we'd play that so everybody could see what actually happened.
Yeah.
It's a tough watch, but
So yeah, we're gonna play that before the AKA webinar on Saturday night. So make sure y'all gather around, folks. Gather around.
yeah. Utah, that's really dragging us down too.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
got that smuggo McKell.
Yeah. And
I'm
then
just
Mikkel with KDA now.
Yep.
So y'all need, man, we need more advocates. We desperately need more advocates. And you're at this point in time, like we are, you have to pick between Kratom and 708.
Yeah. It ain't yeah, you can't play both sides no more.
No, you can't.
It's do or die.
Yep. And I am team Kratom all the way.
All the way. So I mean, if if you're still trying to play both sides, that ain't the way it's going to go. It ain't going to go over too well.
No. We've lost so many good Kratom advocates due to the fact of either they are currently taking 7OH or they're trying to kumbaya this bullshit. Like, oh, we got to come together. Fuck out of here.
It's just, it blows my mind. They think, oh, well, if y'all would just fight along with us. It's like, if you seriously think that that's going to go over, like, even if we agreed if it was the same, it's not the same.
It ain't the same.
It is not the same, period. It's still, it ain't going to be.
The Kratom that I consume in my body that naturally converts into 7OH is that's the correct way. That's the natural way.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the same as the 7OH products on the market today, where you get hit with a Mack truck of euphoria and trying to catch the nods.
And Tracy, I agree. I mean, where is everybody?
Yeah. I totally agree,
dude,
Tracy.
2026 is going to be probably the busiest year I've seen in the whole 6.5 years I've advocated.
Yeah. I mean, we were bombarded at the later part of 2025. We attended, it's probably 100 meetings now that we attended behind the scenes to go advocate, to try to continue to save the leaf. Got to save the fucking leaf because of the problems they're having with the synthetic lab-made bullshit.
Yep. It's just sad. And you know what's going to happen? All these 7OH dealers and all the little companies, whenever it's said and done, they're just going to move on to the next fucking gray area thing and make their money doing that.
They already are.
Yeah.
They don't care about health and welfare of those, us consumers.
Oh, the 8-factor. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the Ohio thing. I was going to say that was.
Well, they did read off the 7OH 8-factor analysis, you know, and then it's like oh God, wait till y'all watch the hearing. Just wait. It's like they supposedly did their own. I don't know why the Ohio Kratom 8-factor analysis trumps the federal 8-factor analysis that Jack Henningfield did.
It sounds like they were almost using like an older one or something.
We are going to stream. We're going to start the webinar or start the
stream thingy.
Yeah, we're going to start the stream thingy it's 5:30 p.m. my time. I'm in Mountain Time Zone, so 6:30 Central and 7:30 Eastern.
Yeah, it's about 40 minutes long.
Yeah, and then we'll go into the AKA webinar once they go live. I don't know, Tracy. I don't know. I know that right there was, I remember somebody talking about that at one point in time, that Kratom manufacturers can actually sue the 7OH manufacturers, not only for that, but for their profit loss as well. But I don't know if anybody's doing that.
No, I don't know either.
Everybody, and that's the other argument that we fucking come across all the time, that the reason why the AKA and us advocates are, going to get 7OH is because of the profit loss. No.
It's Saturday, Mike.
Yeah, Saturday, January 10th.
because the AK's webinar is going to be 7:30 Central Time.
Yeah, and we're just going to go live earlier so that y'all can watch the Ohio Board of Pharmacy hearing that we streamed or we recorded. God.
Yeah, it's crappy. I gotta go. I gotta get off here so I can go get my son from school because of Kratom.
Oh yeah, I gotta go work out on my treadmill because of Kratom.
There you go. Because of Kratom, I'm gonna go live my life.
Yep. Okay, we'll see y'all on Saturday night.